resting. I'm so satisfied with life. I'm like old, but I'm at peace, you know? And then suddenly I hear the noise that I've heard a million times before. It's the one long and two short. I can feel the little operator running around in my towers. I don't know, pushing buttons, pulling levers, turning a big wheel, letting out some steam. And then I creak to life and I become so tall, and I watch quietly as the boat passes steadily underneath. And then I slowly fall back down, and that feels good. I am the Fremont Bridge.
What is the Fremont Bridge?
What is she? The Fremont Bridge is kind of like an icon of Seattle. Probably the most iconic bridge.
The Fremont Bridge is a bridge in Fremont that we use to get over the Fremont Cut.
And it's got pretty colors. It's a bridge that goes up and down.
She opens up. She allows ships to pass underneath her.
The Fremont Bridge is a charming little bridge that connects Fremont to that other area, slightly south of Fremont.
The edge of Queen Anne or Westlake.
What is a bridge? A bridge is
A structure
that allows you to cross from one side to another.
a piece of infrastructure that connects to land masses.
Something to pass through to get
goes over
something else.
like an impassable object to humans.
Water or a rift in the land or something like that.
A bridge sits above or on the water. It's solid, keeps you from swimming across. That's what a bridge is.
Bridge is a way to make a city grow. I am Greg Silcox, S-I-L-C-O-X. I am the supervisor for bridge operations for the city of Seattle. I was a bridge operator. I then became the crew chief, and now I'm the supervisor. But I can still operate the bridge. If need be, I can operate any of our 5 bridges. What is a bridge operator? If you're during the close period, you do maintenance. So if something needs greasing, you grease it. If something needs oiling, you oil it. They clean up the sidewalk. If it's snowing out, they'll go out and put de-icer down. During the graveyard shift, there's one guy, he operates Ballard, Fremont, and University Bridge. If somebody wants an opening, they have to make an appointment. He just takes the truck and operates all 3 bridges. Some nights it's really busy, some nights it's really slow. So the Fremont Bridge is named after what used to be a city called Fremont. And then the city of Seattle just took over Fremont, Ballard. Fremont is unusual because of the neighborhood and of the people. Lots of artsy folks. And that's why our bridge is painted the way it is. Because it was kind of a brick colored. And the Fremont Arts Council said, we'd like to have a better color on that bridge. Well, okay, Bronco's color it is. So that's what they did. If you look at Ballard Bridge and University Bridge, they are Washington State Bridge Green. There is an actual name for that color.
How do you think?
How does the bridge go up and down?
I think a guy pushes a button,
Cranking large wheels.
Wheels and levers and maybe hydraulics.
Yeah, I guess I just envisioned a bunch of gears turning.
A lot of gears and cogs on the inside of the bridge, like the parts that we don't see, just like covered in cement.
Maybe like a series of men jumping up and down on bellows. Lots of steam is puffing and they're shoveling coal into a big pit of fire.
Definitely some mechanics happening there. You know what? I'm gonna say I have no fucking idea how the bridge goes up and down.
The internal workings are a mystery of the Fremont Bridge.
I believe there is some sort of huge hidden counterweight, and it pivots in a way that is mechanically advantageous.
How do I think? Well, I know how it goes up and down. Before I became a bridge operator, I did not know about the counterweight. I didn't know that it's a bascule bridge, and that means it's kind of like a teeter-totter. It doesn't take much to get that going. There's a rack, and then there's pinion gear. And that pinion gear climbs that rack and pulls it down, and the bridge goes up. That counterweight ends up down in the pit.
So I heard a rumor that the bridge at one point was powered by goats. Is there any truth to that?
No. It's called a donkey engine, and they used that for the longest time. But should that donkey engine break down, there was a hole in the road that you'd stick a post, and you'd stick it in there, and you'd have donkeys that would do a turnstile. And that turnstile was attached to a gearbox, and those donkeys, they would walk in circles while the bridge opened.
How old is
the Fremont Bridge?
I assume she's been around for a while because there's not really any other way to cross between like Fremont and South Lake Union.
The Fremont Bridge is probably timeless, but maybe like 100 years old.
I would say probably about 150 years.
Like 50 years old?
140 years old.
80 years old?
So the bridges were built in 1917, but this one opened first, and then Ballard, and then University. My grandpa, William Drayton Silcox, helped build this bridge. I think he was just a laborer, and he was probably 15, 16 years old when he was working on the bridge. I would like to go back in time and just see what all transpired. Back in the day, this canal was a ditch about 20 feet wide. Not just Fremont, but the University Cut. That didn't exist either. And you can see it out here, or they hand dug it by hand, literally, or steam shovel. When they released the earthen dam that was up here, Lake Washington dropped by 9 feet. It just emptied. How can you just drop a lake down 9 feet? You know, that's not right.
So the canal connects the Puget Sound to all those sort of like industry and maritime services in Lake Union. My name is Lee Marriott, and I've been working on and around boats for about 12 years. My intro into boats was working on whale watching boats up in Alaska. From there, I actually went on and worked on other tall ships. I was an engineer for a while and a bosun for a while and was second mate. So I ended up kind of doing like almost every job on tall ships. And then I also worked for hot tub boats based in West Lake Union. Those boats, the boundary is actually the Fremont Bridge. But I passed through the canal tons and tons and tons of times. I've done it on the little hot tub boats, taking them to and from the shop. I've done it on various little wooden boats. I've taken sailboats through the canal to go through the locks, and I even took a water taxi through once. I find it similarly amazing to go either underneath the bridge or have the bridge open for me, or even to drive across it. I just like it. The first time I drove the schooner through and like called the bridge to have it open for me was a rush for sure. Just to like call in and be like, hey, I'm coming through. And they're like, cool, we're going to stop these hundreds of cars just for you. That was memorable. The little boats to get through, like if you were on a small sailboat, but the mast was too big, you would have your horn. And as you're approaching the bridge, you would sound the signal for, I would like the bridge to open, which is 1 long and 2 short. So like, doo. And then the bridge typically responds with the same, letting you know that yes, they will open soon. And if they can't open, they will give you 5 short, which is the sign for like, stop what you're doing or else you're going to crash. So they'll do dun, 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 dun. And that's like, I'm not going to open. If you're on a bigger boat, you would call ahead. The process I know is that you use channel 13, which is called bridge to bridge, like bridge of the boat to actual bridge. when you make a radio call, it's important to say who you're calling before who you are, because people are listening for who they are. They deal with a million different boats a day. They don't know who you are.
Yeah, so you'll hear on the radio, they'll get on 13, say Fremont Bridge.
Fremont Bridge, Fremont Bridge, Fremont Bridge. This is Lavengro. We're looking to do a bridge crossing in 5 minutes. Is that going to be possible? You know, and they'll usually come back and they go, hey, what's up, Lavengro? Yeah, totally will. That's not how they sound.
So first thing you do is you stop them from walking. Once you do that, then you stop them from driving. So you bring down the gates. And then you unlock the bridge, just pushing a button, and you hear this, these bars back out of the jaws, they're called, and that makes the bridge unlock. Then you push the button, and the bridge pops open. You got to keep pushing that button until the boat is all the way through, or the bridge is all the way open. That's all there is to it. Stop them from walking, stop them from driving, unlock the bridge, raise it.
And then what's really fun that you might not know is that when you go underneath that bridge on a little boat, you get dripped on by who knows what. Is it rusty water? You know, is it gross water? Is it like car oil? I don't know, but it's creepy. Like there's areas where it drips a lot and you have to like go around those, but especially on the hot tub boats, I've been through there before and just gotten like totally dripped on. You're like, oh my God, bridge water.
All that water on the road from cars and people just flows directly into the watershed. In this case, the Fremont Cut, and then into Lake Union and Lake Washington, or vice versa, out into the Puget Sound. And that can cause some issues because there aren't as many wetlands and trees and grass and things like that that are cleaning out the ecosystem. It's just going from a street into the water. I'm Becca Johnson. I'm a University of Washington marine biology graduate. Since my graduation in 2023, I've worked for NOAA as a fisheries biologist. Some aspects of the bridge and really all urban structures I feel like people don't think about are impervious surfaces, which is just a fancy way of saying anything that water can't be absorbed through. So when you think about how the land historically was, the watershed was a bunch of vegetation which could absorb water and water could flow through, versus now it's all cement or metal or some other impervious surface. When there is a large amount of rainfall, the water directly around the bridge might be more polluted, since all that runoff is flowing from the surfaces of the bridge and directly into the water without really much of a buffer, since all the area, or most of the area, is urban and cement versus grass or wetland.
You know, both sides of the canal are these big rocks and like concrete walls, but I'm sure that if they allowed it to be dirt or plants, that it would be a much bigger ecosystem there, much more habitat for animals to live in.
The creatures I tend to see on the bridge. There's raccoons, rats, there's ducks, there's herons. You watch them go out fishing. They're pretty good fishermen. You see eagles, crows, they're all over the place. Up in the tower, you don't really have any encounters with the animals, but you do get to see that there's beavers that live out here.
Beavers are all over Lake Washington and Lake Union and through the Cut. I think there's a reason you probably don't ever see beavers just right down below the bridge. They're usually in more isolated areas, like in the Union Bay Natural Area, which has a lot of area that's shielded from boats passing directly through there. Boats definitely benefit the humans, but boats, will have pollution themselves of oil or fuel leaks that happen. Otters, if they have oil on their fur, they can't insulate themselves, and so they'll freeze and die. And unfortunately, otters really like to hang out right where there's a lot of boats. So sea otters are not doing very well in Washington. River otters, unlike sea otters, they're doing great. You'll probably see them out there all over the rivers and lakes like Washington, Lake Union. They're one of those animals that are thriving in the Fremont Cut. Noise and light pollution also could be a factor. When you change the amount of light, you can really change the algal life. Taking away trees can decrease the amount of shade especially for salmon, which are really sensitive to temperature and require shade from trees to have a healthy waterway that they can survive in. Although there still are some sockeye, chinook, king, and coho salmon, the wild runs we have are nowhere near what they used to be. Most of our salmon is farmed now. There isn't really enough wild salmon left to have a harvestable or sustainable population for the amount of salmon that people eat. Something we can do to help the ecosystem around the Fremont Cut is preserving the wetlands, marshlands, and vegetation around the waterways. Even though it's an urban area and we're not going to change that, we can still be intentional about having buffer areas and keeping some pervious surfaces as opposed to impervious surfaces. And there are certain kinds of sidewalks and cement that can be made pervious, that can have little pores in them. And that way, water drains through them rather than just flowing straight off, back out into the river or the lake and back out into the ocean.
I love the Fremont Bridge. To me, it is like a symbol of Seattle, like more than the Space Needle, because it does remind me of the ways that Seattle's working history founded the city and is still very much there and important to the city, while at the same time symbolizing Seattle as like kind of a strange and quirky place that has unique but functional infrastructure that sometimes you have to wait for.